Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It was really good to have all of you guys joining in on Tuesday evening webinars with the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Tonight we have a special guest, Jaco Grobbelaar, that's going to be joining us, and we're also having a guest artist that will be performing with us tonight. Just by virtue of the structure of tonight, I'm going to be doing an introduction of the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry, introduction of our speaker, also an introduction of our guest artist, and then we will go into the presentation with Jaco and also go into the question and answer section. Our president will provide us the best breaking news for this week with regard to the Chamber as news platform and also information regarding Chamber activities. Then we'll have one more performance and the closing. The Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry is the main and the preeminent voice advocating for economic growth and development and employment within the Free State region. It is absolutely amazing to have all of you guys joining in tonight, but also making sure that you guys take part in the conversations that stimulate economic growth within our region and our country. By virtue of the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry being the preeminent voice advocating for increased trade and investment between businesses within the Free State sector, I would like to make you aware that we focus on the lead sectors, which fundamentally is the commerce, the industry, financial services, tourism, logistics and transportation, ICT, property development and social housing, and also business development and business services within the Free State region. By virtue of introduction of the board, we've got our president, who is Thabo Pitse. He's also CEO of Sage Africa, a serial entrepreneur, certified professional business coach, and action coach franchise partner, also a global speaker, and assist with regard to a successful coaching of businesses within the Free State region. We've got our first vice president, that is Advocate Charlie Naidu, that is an LLB degree, a master's degree in law as well. And she's currently completing a doctorate in law, which is amazing. She's been an admitted advocate of the High Court of South Africa, and is also a certified ethics officer registered with the Ethics South Africa body. She's also a motivational speaker and also a philanthropist, which makes it easy for her to also assist with regard to a lot of wealth distribution with regard to the NGO and also the NPO industry. Then we've got our treasurer, that is Jaco Grobbelaar, also our guest for tonight. So I'll give a bit more background on him later on in the presentation. We've got our secretary, that is Andor van der Linde, that is also the labor relations expert, HR specialist, strategic BEE interventions, and also statutory project planning and management that she's been doing over the past couple of years. Myself, as the executive member from the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry office, I think most of you guys have had interactions with me, but just I think a bit of background is that masters in political science and also theology, also deputy director on a couple of investment capital boards within South Africa and also abroad. By virtue of managerial positions, I've been involved with the Cheetahs and also a couple of NGOs within the South African context. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tuesday webinars with the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry. That is the main objective voice for economic development and growth within the Free State region. As I've mentioned to you guys earlier on, we will have a guest performance today. Just by virtue of introduction, we've got Hape Mugele, that is an environmental health practitioner, entrepreneur, writer, MC, host, public speaker, and also an award-winning poet. With that being said, I would gladly like to give our guest artist the opportunity to do a welcoming performance.
Thank you so much for having me. It is truly an honor. Thanks again, Ronaldo. You know, by virtue of being probably a rose among the thorns, since I've actually realized the past couple of sessions, you've had mainly male speakers or guest speakers as the ones that are prominent, whereas this is, you know, a Women's Month. So having said that, this first performance goes out to all the phenomenal women out there. I am more than just a lady on heels. I move and you bark. I speak only to see you quiver, panting vigorously at the sway of my hips and thighs, led to believe that one is not more than the sexuality they possess and that the length of their skirt is to determine their success. I am more than just a lady on heels. Mountains are at their peak, declaring boys as men and young girls as women, adhering to malicious superstitions of our ignited forefathers. Yes, you may be the head, but so am I, your body. For as long as your mind continues to utter falsehood, the human anatomy has never proven life with a dead heart, but admirably has with a dead brain, for the heart was still pumping. You see, I am still superior. Yes, I may be yours, although needless polygamous courtships have never declared one king. Wake up, world. Men, take up your role as men. Stop running at the siren scream of every little infant, for it is yours. Denying to be the dad does not make you any less of the father. You whistle melodiously with your fine tune, forgetting that I am more than my hard, bold breasts and well-rounded figure. RESPECT is the status quo. Don't honk your horn at me passing by, sir. I'm not some obstacle standing in your way. A proper man is mannered enough to stop, get out, and kindly say hi. Therefore, respect is what you shall grant unto me, for I am more than just a lady on heels. Thanks, Ronaldo.
I was still there on mute.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Any pleasure.
Fantastic. Then, by virtue of the next introduction, we've got our guest speaker today. That is Jaco Grobbelaar. He's a chartered accountant, director of Jaco Grobbelaar Accountants, BCom honors, and also CTA. Obviously, part of the SA or the CA South African body as well. Jaco's really been very pivotal in the way in which the chamber over the past couple of years have been managed from a accounting firm and also from a economic perspective, and hence we're having him today to have a discussion with us on how to balance the books in times like these. Just a bit more about the firm that Jaco and them run, and just a bit of background. At Jaco Grobbelaar Accountants, we strive to provide excellent service at all times. We are never too big to do the small tasks for you. Therefore, if you want to make use of our services, we do it with pleasure. And that speaks to Jaco's character as well, and why we've brought him on board this week as well, because he really thrives and really does his best to ensure that you get the professional relationship with all of the clients that they bring on board, but also with those that are potential clients. And I'm really excited to have Jaco with us tonight, and I'm really excited about the particular topic that we're going to have a discussion on, as this is something that is really a pressing topic. Not a lot of people know or are privy to information regarding how do you balance the books during a time like this, and that's why, Jaco, for me, it is brilliant to have you on board as well. And by virtue of that, Jaco, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just allow you to share yours, and then we go into the presentation. Before Jaco does that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind you, please to remain on mute. Use the comment section in the chat room to ask any questions or make us alert of any technical issues that you guys experience. During the question and answer time, I will also give a bit of time for everyone to just voice their questions or their opinions regarding the particular presentation. Thank you so much.
Ronaldo, can you see the screen? Is it fine?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight on this specific topic. Ronaldo asked me a while ago to do a presentation on something that I'm doing in the past 3 months, day by day, in serving my clients. And he asked me not to do a lot of research on presenting anything, and that's why we decided on this specific topic of how to balance your books in a time like this. So I'm going to try to make it practically tonight, and not to do the theoretical thing. So I want to start off with this puzzle that you see here in front of you. So this puzzle we must sort out tonight, and that is all about how to balance the books in a time like this. Now, what I intend to do here is to get some inputs from you as the audience, but I'm going to skip this part in hearing from you. What do you see in this specific topic? So I'm going to move forward to this screen about debits and credits. And it's more than just financials in balancing your books in a time like this. It's more than debits and credits. And on this point, I can't stop helping me to at least share you a joke on accountants. There's many jokes on accountants. But as you see the debits and credits here on your left-hand side, they tell a story that there was an accountant who every day walked into his office, and when he sat in front of his desk, he pulled out the drawer and then he closed it again, each and every day. And on the last day of his work before retiring, Somebody went to his desk and tried to find out what is he doing every morning. And when they opened the drawer, they saw there a note that the credit side is facing the window. So he mobilized himself every day to find out where the debits and credits are. So tonight it's going to be a little bit more than that. And I want to start off with this quote of the CEO of Zappos. He was saying, chasing a vision, chase the vision, not the money. The money will end up with you. Now, this company Zappo, and I want to read you a quote on this company. They say, and this is a company that's selling shoes via the internet. That is how they started off the Zappos. And he had this dream about chasing your vision. Shoe selling shouldn't come to mind when you hear the name Zappos. While the company does sell shoes and other retail goods, it's not what it sells that makes Zappos successful. It's how they sell. That is what it does to the employees and customers that makes Zappos what it is today. And Tony himself added suppliers to this list. It's not only customers and employees. And in his own words, because I've read a little bit more about this company and himself, and here I do have many quotes. He was saying that his company wants to be known as a company for good service. And on the side, they sell shoes. And today, they're one of the most well-known companies doing internet selling. So, including in this topic of how to balance the books in a time like this, I want to include more things. I want to include branding. Branding is one of the most important things in balancing your books in a time like this. You must be well placed in your branding process. Service delivery, as I mentioned in the quote previously. Skills, the skills that you need in your company, in your business, to do the work that you need to do. You must have dreams like this vision that Tony also do have. Personnel is obviously everything that we do is the most important asset, valuable asset on your balance sheet, and that is your personnel. Compliance is very important in balancing your books, and we're going to stress this point a little bit later even more. The next one is trust. One must trust the people that you work with and the people in your business. So you must obtain the trust. And this is without saying hard work. You need that to balance your books. Benchmarking, to bench yourself against other competitors in the market, in your own sector, that's important. And then coming to the financial part, the budget part. You must do budget. Budget is one of the most important things you can do in your business. And some of us don't do this. And together with this comes planning. And we're going to stress this point even further later, the planning side of everything. And then management info is going to be the second point, or it's going to be the first point that I'm going to address in a little bit more detail, because you can't run a business without management information. Networking is very important. We all know about that. And then partnerships. We can't do everything ourselves. We need partners in our business. And even more in times like this. You need your attorney. You need your accountant to be with you. You need a business coach, somebody like Tabu. You need your friends. You need your wife, your husband, or your life partner to be part of your business and to assist you in balancing the books. Then suppliers. I want to go as far as to say that you must verify your suppliers, those that you deal with. You must even do maybe a due diligence on your supplier before you take him on to be part of and to be associated with your business. Training and knowledge, that goes without speaking. We must do continuous development of ourselves, the products that we sell, the business sector we are in, we must obtain that on a constant basis. And then one of the most important things in my life is thinking time. You must set aside some time where you're sitting by yourself, thinking about your business and where you want to go and what you want to do and sort out things. If somebody walks past you and they see you sitting there and they ask you, then you say, yes, I'm thinking, that's what I'm doing. It's some me time that you must put aside to think about your business. Don't forget about fitness and exercise. It's part of the whole package. You must really set aside an hour or what a day to clean your brain and to do some exercise. And yet it's always a question of, on a Friday after you close your office doors or your business doors, what are you going to do the next or during that weekend? Are you going to spend time with your family? What are you going to do to clear your mind for the week that's lying ahead? And then the next one is technology. We must always be prepared for change regarding technology. The accounting programs you use in your business, the Pastel, the Zero, the QuickBooks, be up to date with that. And everything else that can contribute to your business via the technology. In this lockdown time, we experience the use of technology even more nowadays. Social media, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, the Twitter. You must use all those things to balance your books, and you must be part of that. Then be organized. This is the last point of the 20 points that I said here. And that's one of those that I'm also struggling in my life. You must be organized to put all these things together on a day-to-day basis. And I've only put 20 topics or 20 phrases or words here when I was sitting down and decided how I'm going to approach this specific topic. There can be more, and you can add it, maybe another 20 more things that you can think of in adding together. So I want to start firstly with management info. I can't tell you how many clients come to our offices, and the first thing, new clients or existing clients, some of them, and I ask you, do you have management statements? Do you have management information on a monthly basis? And many businesses don't have it. And even in a time like this, it's more important to have it, to do your day-to-day processing. And that processing will equally add up to financial management statements. Those statements you need on a constantly basis to provide to banks or whoever needs it to get funding for your business. And then don't forget the cash flow. Many businessmen then think that turnover is profit, and that is not so. Your turnover is not your profit. And without a day-to-day cash flow, you can't run your business. I came up with this whole strategy around running a cash flow many years ago when one of my clients was arguing with me again about his financial statements and the taxes that he must pay, and the income statements show a net profit, but he's asking me, where is the money? And that is the purpose of this cash flow, to go a step further in finding out what happened with your bank statement in a specific month. What happened from X to Y, and what influenced your cash flow to be in the positions where you are. Many businessmen only use their bank statements to do their cash flow, but that's not the way. You must have a document showing you the things that went positive or negative and how to interpret those things. And then with management information, it's important to have on a monthly basis a comparison of the rand and percentage values and of actual against budget. In this COVID time, I assisted one of my clients to obtain one of these COVID-19 relief fund loans that the banks are managing on part of the government who's giving the surety on these loans. And we use this budget since May, June, July, and compare it what we've budgeted for that loan to obtain that loan with the actual figures. And we evaluate those figures on a monthly basis. You can also compare your previous months with this month's, and with the rand and percentage variances. You compare it with previous years. You look at your gross profit. Are you in line with the market? And then you must take decisions and take actions on this information that you do have. And as I'm saying, there's a lot of businesses who's going without these things. And it's crucial for any business to have these things in going forward, especially in times like this. And lastly, it will end up in the analysis of your annual financial statement, and also see there some ratios. When we at our firm discuss the financials with our clients, we don't even look at the financial statements. We do have this document where we compare previous years and ratios with each other, and we take decisions based on that. Then to start off with the statutory requirements, and the first thing, and that is relevant at this stage. So I'm going to only speak about relevant things at this stage. And the first one is the provisional tax that we need to pay before Monday next week. This first provisional tax and the tax relief measures that's put in place is aiming to help small to medium-sized businesses with their cash flows. And one of the important things, you must be a compliant provisional taxpayer. And then you can defer your payment that you must make on Monday, and you only need to pay 15% of your estimated total tax liability. And then the second payment that is going to happen in February next year, you only need to pay 65% of the estimated total. And then in September 2021, you can pay this difference of about 35% after you've already done, when recalculated your estimated taxable income. But because many businesses are struggling at this stage with low turnovers and low taxable income. And so this is a way to help you in this process of saving some cash at this point of time. But it's important to do planning surrounding this as well. So you must make provision if you must pay later these taxes, to make provision therefore. One other thing that I can maybe mention at this stage is about that many individual taxpayers forget about is the car allowance that you received each month at this stage. Being in lockdown, you haven't drive around too much. So your kilometers, your business kilometers is not there. So maybe you're going to get a surprise in 2021 tax return. If you don't ask your employer or in your own company to change that car allowance, to reduce it maybe, to make provision for the fact that you haven't driven as much as business kilometers as usual. So all these you can find at that link there on the page. You can read more about it. But going more practically on this, there's a Q&A on the SARS website about how to handle this as well. And these Q&As are very, very good. It's very good Q&As from SARS's side. Even myself was not quite sure how to handle these provisional taxes that is liable on Monday. And here's an example for you. You use the estimated taxable income of 10 million, and 25% on that is 2.8 million. So your first provisional tax that you must pay, the 15% is 420, and then the 65% in February next year, 2021, is 1.4 million if your taxable income remains the same after you've done a recalculation. And then later on in September 2021, you can do the rest of the payment. And to strengthen the point more, how to fill in your RIP 56, because here is what I wasn't sure about. You must use your total estimated taxable income, and you must declare that through this process. So you can read there, and then the tax liability can, and this tax liability won't attract any penalties or interest from SARS's side. On the same website, you can also read more read more about the employers and the pay-as-you-earn liability that was there for April, May, and June and July. You already could have made use of it. The VAT, SARS promised us that they will fast-track the payment of the refund of VAT payments that you must get back. The skills development levy, there's a holiday on that for 4 months that was applying. And then there's a good explanatory notice on all these tax measures that you can go through, and there's a link to the website as well. Then I think there was not a lot of freebies in this COVID time for us as businessmen in helping us, but one of them was the UIF 19 tax benefits, and it's a pity, and I must say again, there's a lot of businessmen who don't want to be registered for this, and it's a statutory requirement. And how good would it have been if you was registered? Even if you're a small company, a small CC or a PTY limited, and you as director must also be registered for UIF. So during these times, you could have claimed against that UIF fund. So you see the importance of implementing these statutory requirements. And on a daily basis, we must talk to clients about this, and they don't always understand this 2% that they must contribute. The same with the CODA, the Workmen's Compensation Fund. It's important to have this in place to balance your books. And I always explain it by means of a client that I had many years ago, who was part of an upcoming company in South Africa. And there was 4 people in a light aircraft, and that aircraft unfortunately went down. And he was the only surviving person in that aircraft. And I met him at his home many times and discussing his business and bringing up to date at that point of time. And you know, this fund paid out every cent of his injuries and everything that was surrounding his whole situation at that time, because it was an injury on duty. So it's very important to be registered for this and do the annual return on this as well. Now, I want to add in some extras tonight, and I think this is something, Rinaldo, that we as a chamber in future can maybe do on a monthly basis, to give certain information through to our members to assist them and to make them aware of some things. This is about the POPI Act. It's a reality now. It's coming into place now. And you must appoint an information officer within your business. So who's this information officer going to be? There's a draft regulation of about 25 pages, and I will give the link later on in this presentation, where you as a private body, you as a social society, you are going to be the information officer, and you must be registered. There's also, for public bodies, there's also some rules concerning it. And there is a responsibility of this information officer is also set out in that document. This registration is compulsory. It must be done before the end of 31st of March 2021. So don't forget about this. You must be compliant to this. You can even designate a deputy information officer. And there's a link to the whole document of 25 pages. We can even give a live webinar only on this POPI Act maybe in future, and just focus on this. And then a new thing for South Africa is this auto tax assessment for those persons who receive the email or the WhatsApp from SARS. There's a lot of things that's happening there. There's a nice ANQ on SARS's website. There's some discrepancies on third-party data. So be aware, don't just accept it. If you know of somebody who received this WhatsApp or email, don't just submit your tax return. Go through it. Go into your profile, on your e-filing profile, and check what is going on, because there are some mistakes. And if you receive this notice and you accept it, or you decline it, or whatever, if you don't react on it, by 29 February 2001, it will be seen as if you accepted, if you haven't come back. Some of the questions, I don't see my medical deduction on the auto assessment. The answer is medical aid contributions and additional medical aid expenses are including on a rebate on the rebate under the tax calc. So if you do your tax calculation and you see some things that is not right, go and read this ANQ. And if the next question, if I agree with the auto assessment, what should I do? There's a whole process being set out. How long will it take to receive my refund if it shows an amount due to me in minus? And they say they will pay out in 3 days if there's no problem, 72 days. That is SARS problems, a promise to us. And then lastly, if you haven't received the auto assessment, SMS, but you see, if you go into your e-filing and you see that your return is available, the official date was the 1st of September, and that is on Tuesday. But even this weekend, you can go in and you can file your tax return if you want to be first in line. Then some warnings from SARS, and please, we must be very serious about these things. We mustn't take it for granted. There's a lot of hackers out there who wants to take your money, and be aware of these scams. You can also see it on SARS's website, and don't fall for things like SARS owe you some money. SARS won't do it, and they explain it in more detail on their website. And then, if you want a tax clearance for us as business persons to obtaining tenders, you can do it by yourself. There's a whole process on SARS website, and I'm not going to do it to go through the whole document here due to time limits, but you can also check the document on SARS website on how to do it and how to obtain this tax clearance for good standing, a tender foreign or whatever you need it. And then on the CIPC side, you can also, there's a notice 21 that came out. I also provided you here with a link to submit your financials to CIPC. Don't forget about that. And then again, Ronaldo, to end of this part is there's a lot of deadlines. And I think maybe in future, this is also a good thing for us as a chamber to ask all the different members to put forward the deadlines concerning their industry. And we can put it all together and send it out to members so that they know about these deadlines. For instance, SARS e-filing season, what is the dates? The end of the end of September, for all the attorneys, your audits must be in, your assurance engagements. Usually it's the end of September, but there was a postponement for another month on it. So these type of information, I think we can give through to our members. And we need the input from members as well on these type of deadlines. And then the last one there is expired visas for foreigners. If you know somebody like that, it's been extended until the end of October. So it's useful information even to balance your books. So in conclusion, I want to say that while sitting and thinking of what I'm going to do tonight, I was thinking of calling a friend. You know that thing of calling a friend? I do have 3 very good friends, and all 3 of them are in business, in different businesses. And we communicate a lot between each other. And I phoned them and find out from them about this topic. How do they balance their books in a time like this? And the first thing that they told me, keep to the basics. That's a good principle, even in this time. Keep to the basics, don't change it. Think differently. It's very important. Last night, I was sitting and preparing a document for consultation purposes tomorrow on behalf of a landlord for a building of a tenant to expire at the end of September. And that specific building, the tenant occupies the ground floor and part of the first floor. And the tenant was already saying to us that he maybe wants to downscale. And we already had discussions with him and saying, but you must think differently in times like this. You must act differently. You must rather expand on your business, because they told us about a new product that they got the rights on, an international product to sell in South Africa. And immediately was saying, you mustn't reduce your space. You must take up the whole first floor at a certain price. So think differently. Even here, I can think about farmers. We usually say to farmers during times of drought and difficult times, it's a time when you can do some other infrastructural and maintenance work. You can strengthen your dams for the times when the rain is coming again. So think differently in the way that you do things. And then very, very important, I mentioned it at the start, plan, 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 plan. And this means that equal to restructure your whole business in a time like this to balance your books. And this is from your personnel to your insurance premium that you pay. Look into it and see where you can save some things. It's like a bucket that you must widen it, but the outflow the outflow must be less. There must be a less outflow of expenses in your business. So do this planning. And my friend who was saying this point to me also refer me back to the biblical part concerning this, and that is the 10 virgins, who also 5 of them was wise, and 5 of them was not so wise. So the 5 was wise, was doing planning, and they obtained more oil for their lamps, and so they succeed. So don't be caught off guard. Do your planning day by day by day. And the second one, don't make more debit. That's very important. Even with all these COVID-19 tax relief loans, you must be in a position to repay these things. There's nothing for free other than the UIF TERS that we receive. So don't make more debts. And about your present debts, you must think about it. Make plans with it. Arrange with your banker about it in the repayment of that in times like this. And then be responsible. It's so important. My friend was saying to me that people can sometimes be not responsible in what they're doing. Buying something like a Lexus or a FJ Cruiser in a time like this is not the right thing to do, because those things are not practical to your business and to your business decision. So be responsible in the way that you structure your business. And then lastly, if your business don't need it, don't buy it. It's a very wise quote that you gave me. In conclusion, I want to end up with this quote of Mr. Google. Always deliver more than expected, and then you will balance your books. Early this morning, when I was preparing for this presentation, I received a WhatsApp on my Bible app on how to balance your books, and that refers to be watchful, stand firm in faith, act like men, be strong. How true is that not in a time like this? Thank you very much, and I'm open for any questions. And you can also find my details there. If you want to put me an email or ask me something.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jaco, for giving a thorough presentation on this. And I really enjoy the fact that you took your time to obviously go through this, but it's practical information that you've already been putting to use. I mean, obviously, you've been servicing clients over the past it's been actually 6 months now that most of them have been obviously involved in how to understand how do you balance your books within a time like this. And maybe just a question, maybe, and ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to please ask questions here in the comment section. I think I will just ask, there's one question from my side, and then there's another one that is there from, I see from Tabo Pizza as well. So maybe just from my side, Jaco, and you might mention obviously to understanding, there's just notifications coming through. So you made mention earlier to it, just regarding the POPI Act and the information as well, and preparing regarding that. And for me, it's something that is rather important because of obviously what's happening in, I think, cyber security, and also, the way in which cyber security is really fluctuated, the way in which people have done business over the past couple of months. And I just would like to maybe let you give a bit more of an understanding how the POPI Act has a direct influence on how you as your business balance your books as well, because it can be detrimental to you if you don't apply what obviously is stipulated in the POPI Act. So I'm just
maybe
Yes.
let us just have a bit more of a discussion regarding the POPI Act, and how do you think that will be of influence forward for us? Then there is, sorry, Jaco, I'm just going to read Tabo's question, then I'll give you an opportunity to just answer both. Then Tabo asks, why do people change for why do people charge for tax clearances if they are free? And then there's just a comment from Tabo that says, sweet, short, straight to the point, nothing but the truth. Thank you, Jaco. I think maybe, Jaco, maybe you can just share comments on those. And then if you guys have got more questions, you're welcome to put it in the comment section. Yeah, I think there's a couple of people that are attending here today that I think might have a couple of good questions. See, I hear Adam, you're also here. Chad de Koker, I see you also there. So maybe guys just put some comments in there or questions to Jaco, and then we can take it from there. But Jaco, maybe answer those questions and maybe just share a bit on that for me.
Yeah, thank you, Ronaldo. Yes, the POPI Act is there's a lot of obligation towards businesses and applying it correctly, because you must be very careful in the information that you share from now onwards, and you must understand the liability in doing it wrong, and it can be off-balance influence on yourself, a financial implication if you don't do it correctly. So I think it's really a topic that we must discuss maybe in more detail through the chamber, and to give our members guidance on this, on the POPI Act itself, and the risk that's involved there, and even this compliance officer and what he's supposed to do in applying this POPI Act, and the risk that is involved. So it's very important that we address that at some stage. And then Tabo's question on the tax clearance. Yes, Tabo, it's true. There's processes and that's why we go this way. SARS is also assisting us in doing it ourselves, so that you don't need to make use of a professional or anybody in this process. But I must say to you, if you go to any accountant, I mean, they must spend time in obtaining the tax clearance and give it to you. If you don't have time to do it yourself in your business, maybe you as a business person must focus on other things than doing this part. So then there are a fee, it's a limited fee, but you are also there's also a possibility for you to do it yourself and to save yourself this cost. So that's why I put it in here as part of balancing the books, that you can save that money by trying doing it yourself. The problem is if you receive that SMS or the feedback email saying that you're not compliant, then you must do something about it to get your affairs up to date. Maybe there's outstanding financials statements or whatever, and then you must maybe make use of a professional in solving that problem. And thank you on your comment on the presentation. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jaco. Jaco, there are two more questions. One, I'm going to actually give Tabo an opportunity to speak as well, but I would like to read Lincoln Meyer's question here. He says in the comment section, he just says, thanks so much, Jaco. I would like to know how to calculate my tax if I earn a salary as well as I do a part-time work on the side for extra cash. Then we're also just going to allow Tabo to just perhaps, Tabo, you're welcome to unmute yourself and just ask the question from the Facebook Live audience that we have as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. CEO. Okay, Jaco, the question that comes from Facebook is from the lady called Naledi. She's asking, do I need to appoint an IO if I'm an SME? IO. So I'm just trying to IO. What's an IO? I don't know. And she said making about 15,000 revenue. Also, is it per month or per annum? I'm just not sure, but I don't know, Jaco, if the question is answerable.
Yeah, the last question, Tabo, I'm not 100% sure about it, but I think we can follow it up via Facebook, and we will answer it, and we will get back to her with a question, and also put the question or the answer on Facebook after we understand the question. I'm not 100% clear about it. On the other question, yeah, it's very important. There's a lot of pitfalls that people out there, businessmen and the public, don't realize about your taxes and your compliance of having a salary and this part-time business. Even if you do have a hobby and you make money out of it, you actually must declare that money in some way. And nowadays, SARS is getting better and better in following up these type of income that you receive. So be careful and maybe you must go and see a professional in helping you and maybe save your money in the process at the end of the day by compiling a better tax return and understanding what you can claim back if you have a side business or having a business as well as receiving a permanent salary. So there's a lot of things that you must take in consideration before submitting your tax return, and to do it in the best manner for yourself to save money.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for answering those questions, Jaco. I do not see any more questions. Just one more comment there. Just see. I'm actually going to, the gentleman there that said, thanks for the presentation. You're welcome to just, you can just unmute yourself and just maybe share a bit more on your thoughts regarding the presentation. There we go. Thank you. I'm not sure who that comment came from there.
I think I'm the one who wrote the comment.
Oh, there you just highlight. Yes. Okay, there.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a great presentation. I think it's something that we don't usually get from a lot of people in South Africa where they present about tax. It's one of those regulations that might get you in trouble if you are not compliant. So I just want to thank the Chamber for this great opportunity that was given to us to be part of the live recording. Yeah, it was a great presentation, and I just hope a lot of people will join on the next meetings that the Chamber might host. And I think it will be great for people to check on Facebook for this live recording so that they can learn a lot, as much as we have learned today.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Then I really appreciate that comment that you've made there. Thank you so much. Then there's another comment in here as well. Maybe, Mr. I think it's from Shad as well. Would you like to just unmute yourself and perhaps ask Jaco that particular question, Shad?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you.
Can hear you? Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. I would just like to know how do you keep a sustainable business flow when it comes to time of renewal of your tax clearance in conglomerate with your letter of good standing from COIDA, when the system is so delayed? How do you keep that flow going, because it sets you so much behind when there's delays in the system when it comes to not having a tax clearance and not having a letter of good standing, especially when you're in the tender industry?
Yeah. No, thank you for the question. And I must say, we also experience problems at our office in obtaining some of those things concerning COIDA as well, COIDA, the workmen's compensation tax clearance. And it's not a process whereby you must maybe ask a practitioner to assist you in the process, because we on it day by day and trying to obtain these documents for our clients. So there's a challenges, and there are challenges, but the system are getting better and better by the day. It's a process, and I think in future it will be better for us and to the benefit of everybody in the downtime periods too. And they sorting out these problems with obtaining these tax clearances. So yeah, we all experience it, but we must live with it and see around it and ask the person who is helping you to assist you in this process, and maybe they can get it faster for you.
Thank you so much for answering that question, Jaco, as well. Shad, what we'll do is we'll just make sure that we align as well and get, I think, more information out from the desk of the administrator's office, from the chamber side, and then we can just engage with everyone that's on here as well, just particular, or to the particular comments made as well. There's another question from Facebook that reads as follows. Jaco, and this is just directed to you as well. It says, do I need to appoint an information officer if I am an SME making about 15,000 Rand? No, yeah, 15,000 Rand revenue.
Yes, Ronaldo, the answer is yes. Anybody, any individual who's doing business must appoint, and is going to be himself. And as I was saying, you can also appoint a deputy to do it on your behalf. So that process is definitely there. You must register a compliance officer. Yes, yes.
Okay, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Jaco, for sharing that with us. I really appreciate the fact that you were able to give us a bit more comments regarding that. And perhaps, Jaco, maybe if you can, from your side, perhaps if you have any further closing remarks that you would like to share, you're welcome to do that from your side, Jaco.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ronaldo. I think in conclusion, I think it's not easy times, and we must be strong in going through these times and do the right things and keep on with business. We must get back to where we was. We heard that, I think it was late last week, that this is the worst economic growth in our country in 90 years, 90. So yeah, we must all work together and be proudly South Africa. Support our South Africa businesses so that we can get back onto track and let's go forward. Sharing information, sharing knowledge, helping each other, and stand together as a country, because I think we can do it as a country.
Thank you so much, Jaco, for sharing with us how to balance the books in a time like this. We really appreciate the fact that you took some time to come spend time here with the Chamber and also give us, I think, an in-depth structure as to how we actually can go about balancing the books in a time like this. Please make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you get access to all of the information. The presentation of tonight will be shared on our website as well, but also I think you are able to have access to Jaco's information as well and the accounting firm, as well as services that they provide. But the Chamber of Commerce and Industry represents the preeminent voice, or is the preeminent voice, for business development and growth within the Free State. And we bring you gentlemen and speakers like Jaco that actually understands the industry and understands how we can go about combating what is the virus has obviously brought to us, but also what is the South African economic context doing to our things, our society, but also to our development. Hence, it is important for you to, I think, make sure that you join the Chamber and become a part of the bigger picture. Thank you so much, Jaco. Awesome. There we go. Thank you so much. With that being said, I'm going to give over to our guest artist to just perform a last act before we go into the best business news for today.
No longer shall you bear the badge of honor on your chest, for the folded flag dampened with our tears that had draped your casket is all that remains. All that is your name and no more of your face. With loud whispers of whimpering muffled with pride, past the third strike, the scent of gunpowder intensifying the animosity. There comes a point in life when one questions if it was all worth it. Silently screaming, "Dear Lord, please let my name the last 3 times to be called." There is no denying that we come from a conflicted past. I know it is not my place to mourn the lives of the dead, for I was never there, but I salute them anyway. For it is through them that we have the privileges of today. Last night, I tore at flesh so as to check if I was still human. To my amazement, I bled. And out of vigorous implants of self-mutilation, I found comforting restoration in the mounting redness, deepening in contour with every frustration of blade put to arm. All that, sleeping with a heart heavy with emotion, I can still feel it within my rib cages, this thing inside of me, weighing down my chest like an alley-filled chest, crippling feeling in all contents of breast. For you, I cry black tears. Contrite you are, yet not knowing the cause of the pigment, so I'm just going to say goodbye with a kiss, giving you at least something to miss, for pigment has bonded marriage to our fellow Africans, where too, Africa mahle. I'm crying for you, world. But you do not feel any of the pain. How much blame can a human heart take with every horrid thing having been said, tattooed on our foreheads, there for us to remember each time we gaze upon the mirror? We are stuck in a generation full of illusions, where loyalty is just a facade, love just another word, and lying the only confrontational truth. All because we felt like stirring wildfires in each other's hearts. Though born at the crack of dawn of democracy, evolution does not seem to prove any intelligence other than hypocrisy. For there an ignorant seed has been planted, watered and fertilized by conspicuous revelations, I am sorry to say, but bearing fruit of death and demolition. I want things to go back to the way they were, back to when all made sense. I want to go to a place of epiphany bearing fruit, but nobody can tame the human tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. My Bible says, with it we bless our God and Father, and with it we curse man made in the image of God. This is a cry to the ignorance ingested. To what avail shall you be content with self-reliance? Missed are the good old days when brotherhood and sisterhood used to be the main aim, disowning DNA strands found in a helix, for our biological timeline states that you and I are one through the bloodline of Adam and Eve. Missed are the imaginative days when bricks used to be cars and cans pots to the less fortunate, only to be crowned both illegitimate and inadequate. A pinstrike campaign to the chest of a mother incapable of affording the so-called literacy. For the more expensive it is, the better, so it has been said. All in the name of liberation. Liberation is the word at the tip of your tongues, the very word screamed from the top of your lungs, although no meaning nor purpose behind the words, its aspiration. Penetrated souls and mutilated flesh from bones, no redemption. Silence falls as the day dawns, no validation. All that is left, a corpse with eyes full of glimmer and glory, pure dedication. No more gloomy dark days, but rejoice and celebration. For death now symbolizes rebirth, just as darkness does to light. Amandla, aware to we chant. Indeed, the power belongs to us, for each and every one of you has been liberated. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being an amazing audience. The name is Hape Mogele, and you can find me pretty much on all social media platforms just as that. No special name, no nothing, just Hape Mogele. Thanks, Ronaldo.
Thank you so much, Hape Mogele. We really appreciate the fact that you are able to also, from an arts perspective, give us a brilliant presentation. It is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for that. Absolutely amazing. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry's main objective is to advocate for economic development and growth within the Free State, with also the focus on employment within the region. And part of that is also its obligation to bring you guys some fresh and new ideas regarding what is happening within the industry, and also give you news and information that the Chamber or based on the strategic alliances that the Chamber have with different stakeholders within the province. And part of that is the responsibility of the President of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Thabo Pitse, that will share a bit with us the best business news for this week. I'm going to allow Thabo just to share your screen with us, Mr. President, and you can just share with us the best business news for this week. I know you said that it's going to be a nice surprise, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm really excited to hear that.
All right. Thank you very much to our host and the CEO of the Chamber, Ronaldo. Thank you so much. I think just a quick one before I do that. From my desk, I just want to say, Jaco, that was, I want to use the Afrikaans word. It was scatterend. Of wat is dit die woord? Is ek reg, Jaco?
Jy's reg.
Ons het dit geniet, baie dankie. Thank you so much for that. And as a business coach myself, I know every information that you share over there. It's exactly what every business owner should actually have. But thank you. I mean, you went beyond the call of duty there. I think everyone was just expecting you as a chartered accountant to just talk about numbers and surprise. I mean, balancing books. It's like all the functions of the business. So thank you so much. That was a cutting edge presentation. Yeah. And Hape Mogele, I must say that, wow, I don't know if I'm an artist myself, so I feel your soul, and you've got soul, and you're amazing in your craft. And thank you so much for being part of the family. So you're not going anywhere. Thank you. We appreciate you. And all these business owners here, each and every one, I believe that we are going to level 1 right now, even where we are those 50 people that will be entertaining. There is Hape Mokhele. You can see yourself. You won't go wrong. If you want to touch people's souls, that's the artist you call. And of course, Sanet, Amy, and Lesala, the team that is helping Mr. CEO, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. Now, just a quick one. I think I'm not going to repeat what the CEO said about what the chamber does. So I just want to say that we have been through the difficult and tough times. And as the Chamber of Commerce and Industries, as the CEO is always making sure that you guys understand exactly what our value proposition is, making sure that we don't just advocate, but we help the businesses, either connect or with every resource that we can have. We actually, the table that you see over there, I think a lot of businesses have been through a lot. Maybe some of you at this point, you even had to sort of, fire your accountants due to lack of money. But while you're getting back at it, there is a support that the chamber will be extending through one of the institutions that I would like not to mention, but it is the support that's been countrywide that has been offered, that has been given to businesses. And for interest, interesting enough, in the Free State, you always get things last. We have not been getting this. So through the chamber right now, we're in agreement that if you're a business, small business, you need the services. If you are listening to the presentation tonight, you've heard our speaker talking about your UIF. You heard each and every word that is over there. We spoke about SARS, your pay-as-you-earn, everything that you need to be compliant. So basically for all your compliance, if currently you are struggling and you cannot afford any of the services, or even if it means you have to buy 3 or 6 months time to do this one, except if you've got a good accountant. But this one I need to be, if you've got a good accountant, like for example, I would never, that's part of your team. You cannot have a business trading, making money and go without an accountant or a tax practitioner. So with this being said, there are businesses that need this service. So if you're one of them, first of all, just look at that. There is light, medium, up until highly comprehensive. So there is an agreement that's been signed, and there is an institution that will help extend the hand to help you pay for all those things that you need. But my advice is, if you've got an accountant, don't even keep your accountant, rather negotiate the fees if times are hard. Do not, even for once, try to fire your accountant to take a freebie. This is for people maybe who don't have this kind of services currently. So we do have this one. Yes, it is an agreement that we have. But who is eligible for this? Each and every member who has signed up with the chamber, those services are actually, you pay for. But if you are a member of the chamber, because obviously now you have to pay your fee with us and stuff. So you will get, wherever you fall in after the assessment, you'll get each and every service there for free for the members of the chamber. So if you are not as well, you can save yourself a lot of money, join the chamber, and then if you need some of those services that you could have been paying every month, then they will be waived, then you are able to save that money for yourself. So these are some of the things that we are doing. But like I'm saying, I'm sure by next week, we'll probably have 1 or 2 people already who are on the program, so that you can see that we are not politicians here. We don't say things we cannot do. We are in business. The moment we say something, then we do. Yeah. So those were the best business news of the week, and I'm looking forward to help some of our members out there. So yeah, so to get this service, Mr. CEO will share all the contact details that are there. So with that being said, thank you so much once more for attending. We'll always make sure that we give you the best that we can. Thank you, Mr. CEO. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Really appreciate the fact that you took some time out to give a bit of perspective to everyone and entering into the conversation as well. Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I'm just going to share my screen regarding the last factors. As the President has mentioned, the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry has got our back as we go into this journey as business people as well, and understanding obviously that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but you have the business chamber to support you. That is such an important factor to take into consideration. Make sure that you go sign up as a member of the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry by going to our website or asking us to send it to you by dropping your email address in the chat section that is there on the right hand side. But you'll find our application form, our value proposition, and all of the information pertaining to the chambers and the service that we have in our website layout and how it's been presented there. You'll also be able to find the presentations regarding the webinars and how the chamber has got projects lined up for the next 6 months, 12 months, and the next couple of years' time regarding it. That's why it's important that you become a part of this, become a part of the growth that takes place within the Free State economic development structure, which is the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So it's very important for me that I make sure that you guys understand that the chamber is here to assist you, but the more you reach out to us, the more we can provide you guys with information via the events that we have. Those events include obviously the live webinars that we have every Tuesdays, but there, as I've mentioned, there are projects and programs that will be rolled out throughout the next couple of months. Register for all our online events that takes place on Tuesday evenings by emailing our administrator officer Sanet, that is at admin@fscci.co.za. And then with next week, we've got a chief economist from F&B that is going to present to us the outlook from a Free State perspective, South African perspective, and a global perspective regarding the economic growth and development that has been taking place. Also, that which you need to take into consideration as a business owner, or how you can help your friends that might be in business. You might be someone that is just a teacher or someone that is involved in the police force or wherever, but there are important informations that will be, or segments that will be shared by the chamber over the next couple of weeks, and you don't want any of them to miss out. So we look forward to that, and it's really a pleasure for us to host you here. Please make sure that you sign up as a member of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Share all of your thoughts or your questions with us. There'll be a bit of a feedback session that you can give to us with our media release that we have tomorrow. But also, if we don't have your email address yet, please drop it in the chat section so we can email you all the information regarding the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And remember that the Free State Chamber of Commerce and Industry's main objective is to advocate for economic growth and employment within the Free State region. Thank you, Jaco, for joining us today. Thank you, Hape, for also performing. Thank you for everyone joining in today. It was absolutely lovely hosting you. Thank you.
Battery 100%. Connected to HUA.
Mr. Press, I think we're still
Yes,
live
sir.
on Facebook.
Yeah, that's why I, just a moment. Right, let me quickly ask Salah.